Hi everyone, welcome to Do Daily Thursday Thoughts. The first Thursday Thoughts of the year, the first live episode. Looking forward tonight to getting back, stuck in, getting out of my comfort zone to answer your questions, give the best responses I can, hopefully inspire you to be really positive and enthusiastic about what's ahead. The questions I've got kind of lead me into that, but as ever, just start off by saying if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And of course, hit that thumbs up button. Get behind what I'm trying to do here. Do Daily. It's just my take on everyday life, me trying to use positive and negative experiences to try and support people along the way, encourage if anybody's looking in just to see how somebody else is doing it. Sometimes all we need is a bit of realism. I try to be realistic, honest, humble, and relatable as much as I can, sharing my experiences around activity, running, which is my passion, and just making the most of the things I do. That's what the channel's all about. Like I say, if you can get behind it, that'd be absolutely fantastic. I start on a Thursday every week by talking about how I'm feeling. Of course, getting back to Do Daily this week after a short break between Christmas and New Year. It's not something I've done very much, but really sort of enjoyed just taking a few days off just to sort of reevaluate, think of how I can take it forward. Got some big plans for the channel, looking to get some routine back into what I do, but also make one or two changes, perhaps create more vlogs and a bit more interesting content. Whilst I love sort of talking about my own self development journey and what I'm up to and what gets me going, what sort of holds me on my tracks and trying to find the answers within any given episode. I also like to I also want to build this thing, and make it more interesting for those looking in. Really do appreciate the support, but of course, doing a YouTube channel comes with trying to build it the best you can. And whilst it's not the be all and end all, my main aim is to support and encourage, like I say, and if I can help even just a few people, that's absolutely amazing. But this week, back to it. Monday, if you saw the episode, really enjoyed doing that actually. Just sat here and just flashed out a few ideas for the year, look back on the last year. And it all sort of come out really well, really pleased with that. And then Tuesday it was back to the training. Didn't come on last night, but again, I'll be looking to get those vlogs back posted on a Wednesday, trying to use them as midweek motivation. Thursday is a live session, and then Friday is a chance to wake up to walk and really attack it. That's the one where I've got some real big plans. Won't give too much away. Things I've mentioned in the past, which didn't quite happen last year. So again, as I'm looking at trying to sort of build into this year and do new things and just keep taking things forward, my own personal journey, self-development journey, has been probably over the last 6, 7, 8 years now of taking myself from one place to another. Spoke a lot this week about how it all kind of came to a head with the wedding and all the nice things I experienced last year. But I've got to find a way to make nice things continue to happen, and that's by keep working hard, keep doing the things I enjoy, keep being positive, but keep getting out of my comfort zone as well. And that's what I'm really looking to do in 2023. So hopefully you can join me on this journey. You can join me in what I'm doing, watch one or two of the episodes maybe, and get involved wherever you can. That's what Do Daily is all about. I've just been doing a coaching session here in Nottingham, explain to the guys that I really want to take things forward to that as well. And we had a really positive session. Running is something I love. It's got me out of a hole at times, but it's not something that's been easy in recent months, in recent years even. It was the start of everything I did, and I still work a lot around it, but my own personal fitness has kind of took a back seat. I've realised in the last few weeks it's important for me to get my fitness going, to make sure when I'm coaching the guys that I can really sort of get the most out of them as well. That's really important to me. I explained how important it was. Perhaps At times, I've tried to put other people first and not realised how much it's important to me. But it's kind of dawning on me now that I need to sort of really focus on what I do. I explain this a lot through Do Daily. If we pay it forward, the rewards do come, but it's important to put some focus in as well and really sort of try your best at everything you do. And for me, working hard in those sessions, working with the guys, but pushing them and seeing them achieve as well. I said it's quite unique. It was whilst I was explaining it, it's quite unique in running circles. There's a lot of competitiveness, if I'm really honest. But I think it's so important for me just to see people achieve, and it might be odd to people, who do this kind of thing, but when you see people work into what you kind of lay out and do, it's absolutely fantastic. So I've taken so much from getting back into that at the start of the year. There's more to come on that. I call it Iron Jan. It's a bit of a tough regime. These sessions I do through Do Daily here in Nottingham, where people come along and take part and get prepared to put the work in. It's almost like a running boot camp with targets and goals, and so it's something I can really sort of get stuck into and hopefully use myself a bit more than I have done recently. Feeling good about the session and my activity levels. Been out 3 times now this week, feeling a little bit stronger. Started a new health kick. They didn't start at the start of the year. I've spoken about that a couple of times already, but started a new health kick and that's going well. So only 4 days, not cracked it. Don't think I've got anywhere particularly far, but just starting to feel that little bit healthier, and perhaps not lost any weight, perhaps not really helped with my running too much, but just feeling a bit just feeling mentally stronger to keep going with it. And that's where we have to be when we're trying to do these things that don't come easy, aren't they? So really really good. Looking forward to things, looking forward just to getting back into the routine of all these. If you want to comment on anything I'm saying, any of the questions that have been posed to me, all the links are scrolling across the bottom there now, and the links will be at the end of the video. Please look me up on social media, whether it's Do Daily, Do Running, the group I run here in Nottingham as well, or through my own personal stuff at Des Oldham on most things. It's just me. It's not. There's no not hiding behind any name or anything like that. I just want to sort of keep trying to inspire the best I can, and that's I feel the best way to do that is to be myself, and that's why I do a very honest, real and raw YouTube channel. So it'd be great to have your support, great to have you involved. So please do wherever you can. Normally, I'd have a throwback question because it's been a few weeks now. Not going to do that this week, but it'll be back at the end of the episode for you to get involved. I'll come back to that later, but just to get stuck straight into the questions. Thursday's always an opportunity for people to ask me absolutely anything that's on their mind. It might just help them in what they're doing. They might just want to know something. It could be anything from running, from motivation, how I do this, to times when it's been bad, where my mental health's at and how I cope with things, to why I've done this, why I've said this, or what I've watched on TV, or how much I've enjoyed the football match, or whatever. It's just things that people might be curious about, and it gives people a chance to interact and get involved and again, support the channel. All I'm trying to do is support others. So if people can support me, it's a great confidence boost. I make no bones about that. So as much support with this I can get is absolutely amazing. And these questions coming in just give me some content, and that's really important as well, isn't it? On a Thursday, if I'm asking people to drive the content, ask me questions, it's important that people do get in touch. At times, people do message me and go, I'd love to ask a question, but I didn't. There's absolutely no wrong question to ask. It's just what's on your mind. Sometimes we all need a bit of sort of prodding and poking with what we're thinking, and just to hear somebody else's take on it, especially if we find ourselves in a in a not so good place. we might be scared to sort of ask outwardly anything. If you do want me to answer anything and you don't want to put your name to it, I can always put anonymous. So don't be worried about that either. But we all just sort of need sort of guiding sometimes, I guess, in the right direction. And through the things I do, through the positivity, through the enthusiasm, through the talking to people, through the mental health, and trying to be some kind of advocate of that, not trained, not no expert on these things, but I talk about it, think about it a lot. And again, with the activity and the running, they're my kind of areas that I have built a bit of knowledge in, so I can perhaps help along those lines. So getting to these questions, you'll kind of see how it all works out if you've not watched before. But like I say, if you've got anything to comment, anything to add, I'd love to read the comments out. And if you'd really want to come on a Thursday, just let me know if there's something you want to talk about. In the past, we've had some really serious discussions on a Thursday around the Black Lives Matter campaign and around discrimination and around the like all sorts of things, mental health, my own personal mental health. I've got deep, and then sort of light-hearted stuff like build up to running events. I've done previews and things like that. So just things that people can tap into at different times. And even if you're not a follower of a certain subject, it's just like a broad spectrum of positivity and enthusiasm, and that's what I'm trying to make the channel. So it's just stuff you can look on in, and try and be inspired in some shape or form. I appreciate the crux of it. Running and activity is not for everybody, but sometimes we draw inspiration from the weirdest, strangest places, and that's all I'm looking to be. So, question one: what is something you'd like to do this year that you've never tried before? And that's from Tim, and that stumped me straight away. There's lots of things that I have tried before that I really want to get the crux off. I mentioned earlier this week in an episode that whilst I'm almost going back to basics, where I started from a bad place, a dark place of struggling a little bit, building up to all these nice things I've had and feeling like 2022 was the best year of my life. It's almost a case of me remembering that now and remembering I've got to a good point, and to get to another good point, whether it's 3 weeks away, 4 years away, or 40 years away, got to keep being positive. These highs come along, and or you just kind of just tick them off. And I'm not dismissing them, you've got to make the most of them when they're happening. I've definitely done that recently, but I've also realised that the fitness was part of what set me going. Getting confident, getting healthy, feeling achievement was all part of a journey where it took me. It sort of led me to running groups, to meet different people, to have different circles of friends, into different kind of content. To do daily initially, then different kind of content. So it's all been nice things to sort of think, wow, that all happened from that. So the fitness things are really important to me this year, and I've got the bit between my teeth with it at the minute. Really keen to crack on, lose a bit of weight. That's a real target. I've done that before. I've lost when I started all this. I lost 6 stone in 10 months. And of course I felt amazing. I felt brilliant for it. I felt like I could do anything after that. Probably been a bit lapsed, I will admit my frailties and the things that go wrong. Probably been a bit lapsed since knowing that one day I can just do it all over again. I've probably been through that cycle 3 or 4 times, to be honest, in that time. And probably does when I'm not feeling fantastic or I'm a little bit busy and I lose a bit of attention to it, which all those good things came with being busy and losing attention. So it gives me, it just reminds me that I need to sort of work from those things to get back to another really high point. And I'm not exactly reaching out for that high point, but what I'm trying to do is almost make sure I don't reach a low point, because it'd be easy. Sometimes it's a case of after the Lord may show, isn't it? You have all these nice things, You find it in January after Christmas, for example. You have such a nice time, and then everybody gets into a bit of a January lull, or you go on holiday and you come home and you feel a bit rubbish. So all I'm trying to do is almost use last year as it was that great year, but not then think, oh God, what's going to happen next? Where am I going to go for it from here? Like I say, it's not about reaching out for the highs. It's about making sure I don't get too low, and that's what tends to happen these days. That's where I find my positivity from, because life's for living, isn't it? That's what it's all about. So there's lots of things I'm resorting back to. One of the real big things is really, really cracking this sleep issue. Whilst I can lose weight, whilst I can go on running streaks, whilst I can run marathons, get work to training plans, most recently get new jobs, set up running clubs, set up charity events, all these things that take a lot of commitment and dedication and time. The one I've really struggled with is sleeping, and it's the one thing that pulls me into a bit of a slump as well. When I get tired, things get missed out. I do work really hard. I'm not beating myself up on that, but it gets hard then to do what you need to do. And of course, your thought processes aren't as clear as they should be. DOdaily gives me a great sort of chance at the end of every day to put them back in order, getting on here, talking, even if nobody's listening. I'm talking, I'm almost setting the reminders for myself by saying what I say and doing what I do. So it's important in that sense. But the sleep thing's one I really need to crack. In the next sort of week or two, I'm trying not to go too big. I'm trying to get the running in and the diet going. But in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be really looking at that, trying to use the dog as the accountability. Of course, we've got Stanley, the puppy. And if I can set some routine where I get up and don't put pressure on myself maybe to run, but at least get out for a walk in the morning, talk about it on a Friday. I've been doing Fridays for a long time. Again, it's just not been as perfect as it was for 2.25 years. I was out every Friday morning as early as sort of 5:30, and getting to places to visit them. Not been as easy over the winter, of course. It never has been over the last couple of years. But again, I feel like I need to do that. I need to do something a bit different with it. So I'm really looking forward to it. But if I can sort of use that, I've got a session I do with a running group on a Tuesday morning at 6. So there's 2 days already ticked off. It's just a case of finding the other 3 days, and then, like I say, if I can use Stanley, the puppy, as the accountability, that would really work. So that's one that I've never cracked before that I really want to do. But again, a lot of the things that I've never tried will come through what you'll see on DOdaily. I'm looking at sort of almost extending the channel with the walks and creating new things and new kind of videos which might appeal to different people, which won't necessarily appeal to all. But again, it's quite a variety of what I do here. So really, really looking forward to setting and just being more, after a long time, determined to get things where I need them to be. I wouldn't say it's been lucky, because it's not, because I've had to work hard, but things have happened because I've done other things. What I want now is to set a plan, like with my coaching, as I mentioned at the top. I really want to take that forward. I really want to be confident in delivering the messages I want to deliver. I said tonight at the group that if people don't really like the language I'm talking, not bad language, just the honesty and the sort of intent that I'm talking with, it wouldn't really be for them, because it's important for me to take forward now. So again, what I guess I'm getting to is I just need to find this confidence almost, and a few things have helped me with that. So I think it's really important just to really, really give it my best and do what I can. Kay is actually in the other room listening with the puppy, and she's commented there. And I mentioned the job there, and that quite nicely leads me into question 2. That's given me a lot of confidence, my new job. Went through a tricky situation after the wedding where I was absolutely flying. Thought I got a great opportunity to take a new job forward, but it didn't quite work out. It didn't make me feel very good. As much as I knew I'd done the right thing, and kind of stuck where I was in the end, it was really difficult for me to swallow. It always is. You can do the right thing, but it don't make it easy sometimes. And then I was lucky enough to get another job, which for various different reasons has just been like a nice twist of fate, and kind of progression, promotion, and one or two nice aspects to my work life balance again, and just working out for me. So really, really enjoying that, and it really has helped my confidence. And again, it's showing in the way I'm speaking. I think, what I said out there with the guys by the river, in that session, the way I spoke on here this week. I spoke about that episode on Monday. It's made me feel a lot more sort of on it, and like I can be. I've never not been honest through Do Daily, but it's made me feel like I can say exactly what I want. I still have those reservations. I still have anxieties about things to say. I'm putting this out there to the world. The world might not be watching it, but anybody could watch it at any time, and that's kind of opening yourself up. And sort of at times, again, when you're not feeling absolutely tip top, or you just sort of, or things are getting to you a little, it could be easy to sort of crawl into your shell a little bit and worry about what I've said. And I have been there, again, sometimes people look at me and go, "Oh, you must be really confident doing that. You must be okay talking in front of a camera." It really isn't a case of that. I often look back and cringe what I've said, whether I've said the wrong thing or not. Sometimes it's just really difficult to know. And we all have different emotions and feelings on a daily basis, so it's hard. But the job has definitely helped build confidence. So I've now got people sort of responsible to me. It's not the first time. Don't get me wrong. And the job's not exactly what I was expecting to do at this point in my life. But um, again, having people responsible to you, and line managing, you have to think of other people's feelings and how they go about things. And again, it's just that responsibility. I'm somebody, I think, well, I know, kind of five off responsibility. That's why I take the lead with running groups and coaching sessions, and even talking on here, even if it makes me feel uncomfortable. So whilst it's all jobs are a bit scary at first, it's given me the confidence to realise that probably work to a point, and taking ownership of my previous role to be in a position to do this. So it's a measure of working hard and doing well for yourself, isn't it? So yeah, thanks for the question, Laura. Really, really sort of appreciate taking note of that, and asking me how it's going. It's absolutely brilliant at the minute. And whilst it is really busy, with all this other stuff I do, it's really has been sort of a nice fillet to take into the new year, and finish off last year. Door on tours in, watching. Um, Anybody who likes football, of course, I've mentioned it quite a lot in here. I'll be on his channel in about 25 minutes time now, talking to him about Forest games and things like that. So do check out Door on Tour. Please subscribe if you can. Just give him a shout out there. I know a lot of his followers have kindly subscribed to me as well, so that's really appreciated. But this is not a football channel, so get over there and watch it regardless, but it's especially the football fans. Question 3. We always have 3 questions every week. A bit of a mixed bag at times, but these are all sort of about how it's going and what I'm thinking. How do you set your targets for the year? I've kind of explained a lot about this year's, and why, the reasons why. I've kind of looked back and thought, well, I don't want to get into this sort of downward spiral of thinking, oh, I've had all these nice things and what's next, and that's been the basis this year. But it's just kind of making sure that I do things that I know I can measure, that's so important. So if I want to lose weight, we've got to put numbers on it. If I want to run a marathon, I've got to put a time on it, and all these little sort of measurable targets. Yes, if you can sort of go and do something and you've got the motivation without thinking too hard, that's fine. But me personally, I need targets. I need numbers to work off. As runners, tend to be a bit obsessed with them, too obsessed at times. But it's nice to sort of put things in. One thing I'd love to get back to, I did it first 5 years I was running, I ran 1,000 miles, more at times. But the last couple of years, through injury and illness, I've not achieved it. So again, it's great to put a measurable target in place, but also something that's achievable. Of course, things get in the way, things stop them. If they do, we have to move on and we have to find a way to get back to it. But if we like with the weight, for example, I speak about this a lot. When I made this initial change a few years ago, um, I'd probably needed to lose 4 or 5 stone at least at the time, but that felt unachievable. I kept trying and giving up, like everyone tends to. When I said to myself, if in a year's time I'm 2 stone lighter, I know I needed to lose a bit more than that. But when I said, if I'm at this point in a year's time, I'm going to be in a much better position and I can work off it again. I actually lost it in 2 months. So it's about not reaching too far, but making sure there's a measurable target in place. That's how I try to go about it. And things that I can do over a year as well, you can almost break down it into months or weeks or seasons or periods, quarters, things like that, just to make it sort of achievable. I can't find some accountability with it as well. I speak about it. That's one of the things I really do with my targets. And people probably think it's for a reason of ego or showing off or doing whatever. No, it's just trying to share the positive side of it, trying to inspire other people. I've seen people already this year I'm inspired by. I saw a guy who I know who does a lot of fitness stuff, and the transformation. I'm not into sort of lifting weights and pulling things around and getting a ripped body, in that sense. But it inspired me as well to think that I could try a bit harder, and it just shows what can happen if you put time to it. I had a conversation with Kay actually, and she was saying, I was explaining about this person's transformation and saying that it was like, she said, "Are they obsessed?" And I was like, "No, they just work really, really hard." And that was important. So again, just looking at what other people do, but also just remembering what's important to me when it comes to the targets. I was talking at the at the Do Daily running boot camp I've been mentioning on throughout earlier this evening. I love running. I love encouraging people to run. I love actually being out there in the fresh air. And now I love coaching people. So again, targets around those things. Um, I just mentioned somebody that inspired me in the gym. I don't like being inside in the gym. That's not my thing. My thing, is something I found and wanted to take further and further and further, was running outside and the benefits of it and being out in the fresh air. So I've got to remember that a lot of my targets, a lot of my go-to things are around that. I always say, when I'm feeling really rubbish, the best thing I can ever do, the best medicine is to get out and go for a run, because you always feel better. Whether you're feeling fantastic to start with, you just feel along cloud nine, or if you're feeling rubbish, it makes you feel that little bit better. There's never a bad one. It might be a struggle, it might be horrible while you're doing it, but it's so much better when you do. So thanks for those questions. Really appreciate them. There is another one here. Well, there's just a comment there from Dawn on target setting is quite difficult, but once I made a target, I'm determined to stick to it. And that's all you need to be, isn't it? Make it accountable. Tell people if it is running, arrange to meet up with people on a Friday morning, or if it's a dietary thing, tell somebody your weight if you're uncomfortable with it. I'm not everybody's going to do that. I appreciate that, but it's that sort of getting out your comfort zone and almost proving to yourself and perhaps someone else. I think proving it to myself's enough, at times, but I also put it out there because I know people will ask me the question, how's this going? How are you getting along with that? And I think once people ask me the question, I'm a bit of a stubborn bugger as well. I want to sort of prove that that I've done it. I don't like admitting defeat. I'm not mega competitive, and I've already done it tonight. I explained that sometimes it don't always work out, but I do like to prove that I can do something. And over the last year or two, not the things I wanted to do, the things that will probably help me inspire people have not quite happened. And again, that's why I want to go back to that sort of the start of all this, and when people were sort of looking in and going, "Oh, I'd like to go running too." That's an amazing feeling, knowing you've inspired someone, people leaving you nice comments or saying, "Oh, because you've done that, I've done this." There's no better feeling than that kind of thing. So it's important in that sense too. Kay says she's the same as Dawn. So yeah, thanks for those questions. A lot around this year. There's another one. Dawn has asked me. I did touch on the football there. I've got to ask: will Forest beat Man United in the semi-final? Of course they will. There's no doubt about it. We're going to Wembley again. That was one of my real highlights of 2022. It'd be amazing to do it again. We waited so long to do it the first time, but realistically, probably not. But that don't mean we can't have a good time, does it? That don't mean I'm giving up on it. We're going to live the dream, especially with football, and live the dream every day. Again, it's probably cliches I wouldn't normally use, but I just feel a bit more confident to do that. And with the football, who knows? It's a game that surprises and shocks us all, and it's the hope that kills you sometimes. But when it does work out, it's an absolutely amazing feeling. This week, already felt that just getting to a semi-final, a big game, a two-legger against Man United, Forest against them. What a feeling. What a feeling to feel like you've made so much progress. And again, I put a post out on social media about how Forest manager Steve Cooper has made these things happen. It takes football managers take a lot of criticism. Steve Cooper's taken a lot of criticism. Forest have come a long way and struggled. But again, they're fighting against the odds and they're getting out of the comfort zone, and at times when you do that, the rewards and the results come, and that's exactly what's happened there, isn't it? It's kind of a metaphor for all of life, but it's what I kind of stick to on a daily basis as well. So, yeah, who knows, but probably not. We got beat by them quite comfortably 3-0 a couple of weeks ago. But again, just to be in the mix, perhaps punching above your weight at times, gives you the opportunity. If you're not there, you've got no opportunity. So it's a chance to pull yourself up to a standard that you want to be at. Finishing off with a throwback question: what's the one thing what one thing are you looking forward to this year? I really love some sort of feedback on this. As I always say, no wrong answers. This is just to create a bit of chat at the start of each Thursday's episode, just to give you the chance to interact, to give you the chance to support me, to get me on the channel, to get it moving around the algorithms, and people saying different things, driving a bit of content. Like I say, I do this to help myself, but I also do it to support and encourage others. And there's lots of reasons I speak of periodically around mental health and why I'm driven to pass on these messages that I've not always been comfortable in delivering. I've not always, and people around me are not comfortable in listening to. I appreciate that by the number of viewers. It seems like I've got a lot of friends who don't want to get involved, which is absolutely fine. But I appreciate it. But I have to do it for me, and that's the important thing. So get involved if you can. That would be absolutely brilliant. No wrong answers. What are you looking forward to? Again, it might just make somebody start thinking more positive. Another example of something I said at the coaching group tonight was, rather than think how tough the sessions are, think how you feel afterwards. Carry that feeling. And I almost said to the guys, it's not a wishy-washy feeling that just you were thinking. Anybody who goes on a health kick, it's not easy. Or weight loss, it's not easy. The process isn't easy. Enjoy the results. The process is the process. Enjoy the toughness. But you've got to almost train your brain to think that way. You've got to, the way I'm talking now with a bit more confidence it's going to help me long term. It's not easy. Still twiddling about with something in my fingers right now, because I'm saying these things, but that I'm doing what I have to do, because I know if I don't do it, I won't sort of achieve the things I want to do. I talk a lot here to support other things. I already mentioned the football channels. I do football content, and it really helps me in that sense. So if you've got any responses to that, please do respond on any of those social media links. Or if you've got questions and comments or absolutely anything else you need to sort of get in touch with me about, email me, des@dorunning.org.uk. Absolutely chuffed with the amount of people who do email me. It's really surprised me. It's not, people aren't emailing me every day, don't get me wrong, but at least once a week somebody gets in touch and they create conversation about what they've been experiencing. I've said this a million times, in all the adversity of their feelings, because it's normally when they're feeling a bit low, when they're feeling down and upset, it's an absolutely incredible feeling to feel like people have got a bit of trust in you, especially when I'm not trained, I'm not a pro, and I am just doing this humble sort of small YouTube channel to try and express some feelings and be somebody who's putting themselves out there. So please don't hesitate in getting in touch. Whatever you want to talk about, if you don't want it sort of broadcasting here, that's absolutely fine too. I chat with people on a daily basis about how they're feeling and what they're doing and things like that. And that's the best part of what I do. Like I say, through the adversity, unfortunately, we're creatures of emotion, so we're not always feeling fantastic. So when we're not feeling great, it's a case of trying to deal with it and feel better as quickly as we can. Got some comments just to read through. Dawn has already commented on the what she's looking forward to this year, celebrating her 50th birthday. And Ian has put celebrating Dawn's 50th birthday. That's a good thing then. Kay says, our honeymoon, I can't wait to visit some new places and explore. That's something I'm definitely looking forward to. We've had a chat and we're going to do some traveling, before whatever we do next. But some traveling is nice and it'll be really an enjoyable experience. We want to visit new places that we've not done, just something different as well, rather than the everyday thing. Again, we'd be getting massively out of comfort zone to do that. But it'd be brilliant to jump on a train and travel around Europe a bit. Eve says she recently got back into exercising and I'm hoping to lose some weight soon. Again, hopefully I can help inspire you on that, Eve, because that's what we do. When we see other people doing it, when people set the example, and again, I've had to remind myself of that. It's important then for others to sort of work off that and see that someone can do it and it's not impossible, because sometimes it can feel that way. And that's it, guys. I appreciate all those tuning in, all the comments. I appreciate the questions and can't thank you enough for those. And I'll be back in the morning, wake up to walk. It'll be on from 7 o'clock tomorrow night, but really looking forward to getting out there early in the morning. Definitely going to get up. I've made myself accountable now. It's going to happen. It's tough. It's cold. It's wet. It's dark. But it does wonders for my mental health. It does wonders for helping me attack the day. I've actually got a training course at work to do tomorrow, a dreaded training course. No, I'm looking forward to it, but training courses are training courses. You all know what I mean. So it'd be great to sort of get out there, clear my mind of any feelings I've got and any tiredness, and be sort of preparing myself best for that, to take on as much as I can, because it helps with productivity, it helps with lots of things. I'll explain more about that. I'll talk about where I am and what I'm doing and how the week's been and what I'm looking forward to at the weekend, all the usual stuff on Wake Up to Walk. Until then, guys, have a fantastic evening. Just doing it.